So my XRP friends out there, welcome to a new XRP update video. Currently, we are trading here at $2.21. It has become very, very quiet, to be honest, around XRP. We are only keeping an eye on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is pumping. The altcoins are all currently somewhat struggling. Although we have seen, let's say, a slight recovery here, there hasn't been anything really significant in the last few days. And you can remember the last video I made, that was the alternative. We're going to put that aside for now because it could still happen. But as I said, you'll definitely find out everything in today's update video. Before we start, feel free to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and of course, join the free Telegram talk and signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, feel free to join. You can find the link in the video description below. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade everything we discuss here, feel free to sign up with my link below at my partner exchange, BingX. The link is also in the video description or in the comment section. Currently, there's up to 11,500 USDT available again. So, XRP, what has happened? Not really much since the last update video, about a week ago. We're still trading here at $2.21. At least we've managed, as I mentioned last week, to break above the 200-day SMA, which is this purple line here, and almost confirm it as support again. Nevertheless, we are still in a broader downward spiral. Not really bullish, not really bearish, to be honest, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. If we draw the Fibonacci retracement from our all-time high to our correction low, we can see that we're in the middle of nowhere. That means between the 0.236 and 0.5 Fibonacci retracement levels, there's nothing really significant to discuss at the moment. Interestingly, for those of you who follow the Bitcoin updates, every day, we always take a look at the funding rates. The funding rates for XRP are absolutely normal. So again, there's no significant movement here where you could say, wow, there are way too many longs or too many shorts, nothing at all. At the moment, there's nothing happening with XRP that really needs to be watched, except that in my opinion, there's still a chance. We might get another pump, but that's solely because we are probably expecting Bitcoin to reach even $100,000, which is why I think if Bitcoin follows that path, we might also see another upward movement in altcoins, and with that, XRP could reach around $2.50. $2.70 or $2.80 seems a bit too much, to be honest, but a 10% pump towards $2.50 in this zone here, where the volume is, where the inefficiency is, and our new monthly pivot. I honestly think that's even possible. And that we might then initiate our downward path afterwards and then see the correction. Because at the moment, as long as Bitcoin continues its consolidation or keeps pumping with negative funding rates, meaning more and more short sellers are coming in, there will eventually be this little switch EOR that then flows into the altcoins, and that will naturally also boost XRP and the other altcoins that can benefit from it. And that's why I currently assume that we will come back into this red zone here. Let's enlarge it a bit now. Say $2.50, $2.55 due to the monthly pivot, and then we will see the sell-off. If we turn on the vectors, we can see that at least from a daily perspective, there's nothing really significant upwards. There's clearly more to gain downwards. This means the alternatives we discussed last week, around $1.80 due to our support zone down here, plus the vector candle, still remain valid. That is the alternative, the bullish variant if we should go downwards again. Otherwise, it will probably end up heading towards $1.50. Let's go into the 4-hour time frame again, just to complete the picture by drawing the vectors to see if we have any overlaps here. We see up here at around $2.44, another red vector candle, which might possibly be the first starting point or anchor point to potentially enter a short position. So that would be the bullish variant for us now. Bitcoin rises to $100,000, taking XRP with it simply because of the inefficiencies we still have here, plus the red vector candle, plus all the wicks that are still up here, plus the new monthly pivot that has been added, and then into correction mode. And then we have to see how deep this correction goes. Of course, Bitcoin also has to play along, because if Bitcoin does not undergo a correction, then we are very unlikely to see a correction in XRP either. maybe just very briefly in the weekly time frame, perhaps a bit more on that. As I said, we are still rather in a downward movement. Some would also call it bull flags, but to be honest, I am keeping a bit of distance from that. We still have these massive wicks, which usually like to be filled. And if we take another look here, very briefly, vectors down to about 60 to 70 US dollars. I believe they're only in the bear market, but I just wanted to mention it for completeness. But as long as we are in this flag here, I would say everything is fine. And as long as that is the case, $1.50 or even slightly lower is still a possibility. Now it's your turn. What is your forecast for XRP? Do you also say, okay, we are heading towards a pump once again in the next few hours or in the next few days? Or do you say, no, 150 is much more likely? Write it down in the comments below. Otherwise, I wish you a nice start to the weekend. Take care and we'll hear from each other in the next video. Until then, bye, and as always, stay cool.